Hey guys, how we doing? Welcome to another buzzing chat show here on Buzzing Pattaya. And today's discussion, which is about the effects of overindulging and drinking too much here in Pattaya and the dangers that that may bring. And this question came because I've been asked quite a few times by guys that don't actually drink to ask, would we be made to feel welcome if we didn't drink, etc. And I've also had a couple of experiences recently where I've seen people overindulge and they've got themselves in a bit of trouble. So I thought, well, let's just cover this. So, before I do this, I don't mean to teach you, to suck eggs. I'm not trying to teach you like, like your school children. I'm just kind of want to just share with you some of the outcomes of drinking too much because it's a little bit different out here than it is back home. And I do speak with experience. I've worked at doors for many, many years, so I've dealt with a lot of drunk people over that time. But out here, it's a bit of a different ball game, and I want to cover off a few of those areas. So that's what we're going to talk about today. What I'm also going to do is, it seems to be quite well received that I put this stock footage over the top of the video when I talk. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to do that for you today. And before we go any further, please guys, if you haven't already, check out Discord. 8,500 people in there now. There's bar directories. We're starting to add more photos of the girls that are working in the bars. There's all the things that we're doing, so please have a look if you haven't already. There is a link in the description below. And talking about what we do here, if you haven't seen the video that we did, we went out on a boat trip recently. We had a fantastic time. The link to the boat trip is also down below. Please have a look, and when you come out, hopefully you'll come and join us. All right, so let's get stuck into it. So the first question has to be is, can I come here to Pattaya and not drink? The answer is absolutely 100% yes. So one of the concerns that seems to be quite apparent is that, oh, well, if I don't drink, maybe when I go in the bars, the girls will leave me alone. They won't want to interact because I'm not drinking. Let me tell you now, guys, after living here for 10 years and working with the girls, remember I'm a photographer here, so I've got some very, very good friends. I've got hundreds of friends that work this scene. Trust me, the girls actually prefer a sober guy than a drunk guy. And for many reasons, and I don't need to spell them out for you, but let's go through the initial part. So obviously, if you're sober, you're generally speaking, you're probably a little bit more receptive, maybe not quite as loud, etc. We'll go through that bit. But also, if you were to go down the route of maybe spending some time together, we've all had brewer's droop and all that kind of stuff. So I'll leave that there. I'm not going to discuss that any further. And of course, if during the motion you're finding it hard to produce the end result, she's sitting there and for God's sake, hurry up, will you? So that kind of thing happens. So in terms of the girls worrying about if you do or don't drink alcohol, honestly, they prefer you to be sober, compos mentis, and they're not bothered at all about whether or not you drink or not. What they are concerned about, and obviously, is are you going to buy them drinks? And that's the crux of the matter. What we've got to do is we've got to understand when we're engaging in conversation with the girls, it is work. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. I'm sorry to say it how it is, but it's work. They couldn't give a monkey's what you drink. They care about, are you buying them drinks? So in respect to drinking, guys, just come out. It doesn't matter. Whenever's the right time for you to come out in the future, when you decide to come out here, if you're not a particularly big drinker or you are a non-drinker, we have non-alcoholic drinks here, there's non-alcoholic beers here, you can still perceive to see yourself as part of the crowd, part of the scene, without having to indulge if you don't want to. And likewise, if you want to sit there and have a Coke or a Sprite or whatever, doesn't matter. Up to you, as they say here, the famous up to you. Now, I'm not a big drinker, so when I went out with Mexican bro, with Gabby, he can drink. And of course, we all like to try and keep up with each other. And I'm sure you've got friends back home. Maybe you yourself, maybe you're a big drinker, in which case, you can pile away the drinks one after the other. I can't. And I went out with Gabby. We had a fantastic time for the point to which I can remember, which was when we got onto the large mojitos. And after, I'm very lucky. I'm not an aggressive drunk, so I'm very chilled out, very placid, and I tend to just I know in my body when enough's enough, and I say, right, that's me, I'm done. I get on a motorbike taxi and I go home. Now, those of you that may decide to go with the flow, get dragged along through peer pressure, through group pressure. Maybe people who are in the group say, come on, have another one, come on, we're gonna have some fun, come on, let's get drinking, and you do partake. Be very, very careful, guys, because there are certain situations I'm going to explain now that may come back to really cause you a problem, a real big problem. So please, guys, you know, you've flown the other side of the world or wherever you've come from to this country. Don't ruin it just by trying to keep up with the guy next to you that can drink like a fish, because it just really isn't worth it. And at the end of the day, the only person that's naturally going to suffer is more than likely you. So the effects of drinking. Now, if you're not a big drinker and you've turned yourself into, you know, some guys go out once a week. You know, back in the UK, I used to drink once a week. You come out here, you drink every day. And I've covered it in a recent video about alcoholism here and about, you know, boredom, and then you just go and drink, etc., etc. But the point being is this: when you come out here, if you're a once a week kind of drinker, now you're going to drink for 14 days solid. Okay, that's 14 weeks worth of drinking back home, nailed in 2 weeks. And you may be here for even more. So please, guys, you know, don't be afraid to stand your ground and say, guys, I'm done. But if you do get leathered, if you do get plastered, there are certain situations which I want to explain that you've got to be so careful about. Number one, you've had a skinful, you've enjoyed your night, you barely stand up, and now you get on a motorbike taxi. Guys, there is no excuse, okay? No excuse. There is Bolt taxis here, there are rank taxis here. For goodness sake, get in a car, because if you fall off the motorbike, you are in a world of trouble. You are going to end up possibly hurting yourself, or worse, you know, you could get hit by another vehicle, etc., and end up spending the rest of your holiday in hospital. That's going to cost you a shed load of money. If you fall off a motorbike, you're going to have to pay for the motorbike to be repaired. And of course, remember, oh, you know, that rusty bumper that we've got, or that rusty cog, can you just put a brand spanking new one in and just charge him, because that's okay. That happens. Also, if you cause injury to the taxi driver or another person, if you've run into another taxi because you fell off the bike or whatever, you know, you can see where I'm going with this. There really is huge problems. So please, guys, you know, if you are leathered, get a Bolt taxi or use the taxi rank. For goodness sake, do not get on a motorbike, because you really are putting yourself at severe risk of personal injury and extreme financial costs. And of course, the last one that will come up at you and say hello is our boys in brown. And trust me, they are going to fleece you. So please, guys, point number one, if you're leathered, for goodness sake, use a Bolt taxi or use a grab taxi or use a rank taxi. Do not use the motorbikes, because you are going to be putting yourself in a massive issue. Now, number two, okay, so you're out and about, you're having a good time, everything's going well, you're having a few more than what you're used to. Suddenly, like, your vision gets a little bit impaired, and you're starting to see things that maybe that are not quite what you're expecting, and you know where I'm going to go with this. So, who you thought was a beautiful woman turns out to be a very sexy man, and you're like, oh my Lord. Now, we all have put ourselves in situations, myself included, I've shared that with you many times, where all of a sudden you're thinking, no, really? Now, for some, and you might not be this person, but if you are, please be aware, for some, the reaction is, oh God, get away from me, you dude, you're a chick with a dick, get away, and all those kind of reactions. Let me tell you now, if you think getting involved with Thai men in terms of a physical confrontation or a fight or whatever is going to be an issue, wait until you get involved with the Ladyboys. They are a different level altogether. And what they will do is think nothing of packing up on you with like 6 or 7, and they will just go ballistic, and they will hit you with their stilettos, etc., etc. They really do not care. I have some of the worst violence I've ever seen in the 10 years of being here and working the nightlife has all been through Ladyboys. And I won't go into details, but there was one at Go-Go Bar in LK Metro where they absolutely just destroyed the guy, and it was awful. And the trouble is, and another quick point here is, if you see that, do not get involved. Yes, it's wrong. Yes, your natural instinct is to go in there and try and help him out because he's getting his ass handed to him and stuff back up his arsehole. Stay away. promise you, stay away. It really is hard to do, I get, but stay away, because you are just throwing yourselves into that lion's den, and trust me, you're going to end up getting a real good hiding and worse. So if you do decide that you've found yourself somebody that perhaps isn't what you was expecting, I know it's hard, but try to remain calm, try to be polite, try to pay your bin if you drink, and say, oh, do you know what, I don't feel very well, I want to go home. And they might say to you, I come with you. Say, no, I'm okay, I really want to go to sleep. Leave the bar and go and drink somewhere else. Do not go, oh God, and start getting animated and all the rest of it and aggressive, because trust me, it's going to come back. And like I say, there are certain few things out here that may be a lot different to back home, and it's just really not worth it. So if you do get yourself into a bit of a puddle, then splash about a little bit, but don't start trying to be the big I am and all the rest of it, because it ain't going to end well. So please, guys, take that on board. One thing that you need to be aware of out here is what we call bin padding. Okay, bin padding. Now, I like to check my bin every single time I buy a drink, and I've done that since day one, and I don't care. And I have no worry about people looking at me and go, why is he checking his bin? I want them to know that when the bin comes, I look at it, yeah, okay, that's fine. If you get yourself mullered, you might find yourself in a bit of a situation where you can't pay the bin. So now you've got a problem, particularly if you're on your own and you've not got any mates with you, because now you've got to find the money. And they will escort you down to the ATM. They will escort you down to your hotel if you need to go and get the money, but you are going to pay. And also, if you are, 3 sheets to the wind, it gives possibly the opportunity for bill padding to come in, where, there might be more drinks on there than what you're expecting. And if you don't check your bin because you've had too many, and suddenly you're presented with a bin that's a little bit more expensive, or in some cases a lot more expensive than you was expecting, what are you going to do? Because if you kick off, you're just going to end up getting a right hook and getting told to pay the bin, and the police will come and make you pay it. Now, alternatively, you've just got to go, oh, right, okay, well, I'll better go and get some more money. So don't let, the fact that you've got plastered ruin what was an evening. Just keep an eye on your bin, try to keep yourself together, because like I say, if you do get plastered, you are putting yourself in a very vulnerable position. And of course, what will also happen is, if you're sitting there, oh, yeah, well, yeah, get a drink, darling. Oh, my friend, she not have a drink for a long time, can she get you? Yeah, just get them a drink, no dramas. And it adds up rapidly. So please, please, please be very, very careful. Now, on the subject of drinking and being in bars, there's normally either these light, bright buzzers or these lovely shiny bells that people are encouraged to ring. Guys, just avoid at all costs, unless you are 100% happy that by ringing that bell or pressing the buzzer, you know what you're letting yourself in for. Because there's 3 aspects to ringing the bell. Number 1, it might be ringing the bell and everybody, and I'm talking about customers as well, everybody gets a drink. Remember, the bell is there for one reason and one reason only. It's to get you to pay drinks for everybody that you're not even going to speak to. So if you ring the bell, press the buzzer, it might be for everybody in the bar. And if you're in a busy bar or a busy go-go, that can be serious money. If you're in a go-go and you ring the bell, it could well be for all the girls, not just the ones on the dance floor. It could be for all of the girls. And again, they'll come out from under the floorboards, they'll come out from around the curtains, they could be 500 meters down the road having their somtime, they'll hear the bell, they'll be in and they'll get their drink off you. And again, it can be very expensive, so please be very careful. And then you've got the bell ring, which is for all of the girls on the stage. And predominantly, you might think, 6 girls on there, that's 6 drinks, okay, that works. But don't forget, on the board, there might be 2 girls that are on the stage that are not due to dance because they're either in the toilet or they've got a customer. They'll get a drink. In many bars, to be fair to the bar owners, there is a lot of places here that have a limit. So they'll say, ring the bell and it's a maximum of 1,000 baht, etc. So have a look for those signs. But my point being is, if you've done too much of this and you're slaughtered, oh yeah, and they ring the bell, go on, ring the bell, go on, please ring the bell, go on, ring the bell. All right, you start to get pressured into it, ding, 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 and then in comes your bin and you're like, oh God, why did I do that? So, I'm not saying don't enjoy yourself, I'm not saying don't ring the bell, but remember about the situations that drinking here puts you in. All of a sudden now you've got a big bill coming your way and you've got to find a means to pay for it. And you know, I've known people to ring bins here of like 100,000 baht upwards. Yes, it happens. You might think, oh bollocks, it happens, guys. I've seen guys here have got some serious bins. I know people here, I know 2 people here that have been here on holiday over the 10 years where one night has cost them their entire holiday fund, and they've had to then go back to their home country's source of income and try and get some more money to support them while they were out here. Now, how's that for a kick in the gonads? So, you know, please be careful if you're drinking and you get carried away. I always work on a rule. I take out enough money that I can afford to spend, and when it's gone, I go home. That's it. And I put 100 baht in one pocket and it stays there. That is my taxi home, no matter what, if things go pear-shaped. So guys, be very, very careful. Drunk people. You know, we've all been there, we've all done it, I'm sure. Even those of you that don't drink now, maybe you've never ever drunk, fair play to you, I respect you for that. But drunk people, let's be honest, unless you're drunk with them, they're not really the best people to be around, are they? So what could be a very innocent or, you know, innocuous situation can suddenly spark into very aggressive. You may be yourself, you may know yourself that when you've had a few beers, you want to fight the world. You know, there are those kind of people out there. You know, like I said, I've worked the doors for many, many years in some of the big clubs here in London and bars, and I've seen, you know, little pocket rocket guys suddenly want to fight the world, and I don't know, you know, it's beyond me. But anyway, it is what it is. I'm not saying you're wrong for doing it. I'm just saying, for me as an individual, I think really, like, come on, mate, calm down. It's really not worth it. But you see, the trouble you got here is this. Nearly all bars have got security of some description somewhere. Now, here's a good example for you. So LK Metro, the corner bit there with all the taxi men, they are on call. Okay, Bird is the main man there. I've known Bird years. He is the main man there, and they are all on call in all of the bars in LK Metro. Some bars have got their own security, but the taxi men are all there waiting for that call. And if something goes down, trust me, those guys will be there and they will leather you. So if you are an aggressive person when you're drunk, guys, please try to keep yourself away from that situation, because it's going to end badly. It's going to end badly. And of course, you know, for those people in the bars, I've been there myself, I'm sure you guys have, where you're sitting down, you're having your beer, and there's a guy that's as loud as hell next to you, shouting and screaming at the top of his voice, and thinking, oh God, taxi for the drunk guy, you know. And there's me saying don't use a taxi, but that's of your choice, not of his choice. But do you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, dude, calm down, come on, you know, you're ruining the evening for everybody. But if you are naturally someone that when you've had far too many drinks gets aggressive, guys, try and contain it. Try and keep it to one side, because if it does happen, you could end up in a very potentially dangerous situation. And you know as well as I know that when those boys in brown turn up, you know what side of the fence they are most likely to stay with, even with CCTV. So just be very aware that if you are an aggressive drunk, you know, try and keep yourself calm. You couldn't get loud, you know. I was in a bar the other day and there was a guy in there, and it was just like, dude, like, what are you doing, mate? You know, he was shouting at the top of his voice, trying to be clever. He was trying to speak Thai, and, you know, I'll give him his due, he spoke a reasonably good level of Thai. But it was just, you know, there was no need to shout at the time. And then, of course, he's leaning over the table and saying, oh, it's okay, mate, I'm just here for a bit of fun. Don't worry about it. And he knocks the beer over, and, oh, you know, it's just... And, of course, you know, right now, it doesn't really matter too much, because people are quite tolerant, they're grateful for the customers. But in normal times, that won't be tolerated. So what I'm trying to say with this video, and I'm going to wrap it up in a minute, is, you know, guys, if you come out and you don't drink, don't worry about it. You know, you'll have a great time. You're still fitting. Like I say, the girls don't care whether you're drinking a glass of water or a pint of sangria or a pint of vodka, whatever, you know, they don't care. If you're not a hardcore drinker, be very, very careful how you adapt to this situation, because of course you've got the climate as well, you know, the heat, everything else, you know, the temperature here, every night's a Saturday night, so it's very easy to go out there and just keep topping it up and topping it up and topping it up until the point when you go home and you're on the flight and you think, wow, was that flight finished? I've slept the whole way, because you're absolutely knackered. Don't use bikes, don't use taxis, guys. If you fall off, you're in a world of trouble. If you do discover that you've stepped on the toes of a ladyboy, be polite at all times and try and walk away. And if it's not your thing, check your bin. Just keep checking your bin. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter what they think. Who cares? You're the guy that's paying, so check your bin all the times. Bell ringing, you know. Listen, I don't care whether you want to ring the bell or not. It's up to you, as they say. But to be fair, what do you get? You know, you're going to buy a drink for people that haven't even said hello to you. Where does that come from? If you are drunk, don't get aggressive, guys, because they will meet fire with fire. And trust me, there's a lot of big fires here, a lot of volcanoes, and you are walking into it. And you know, people don't like loud people that when they've had a beer, they're just shouting and screaming. You know, it's just really not good. So there you go. All right, so I'm just going to step down off this soapbox now. As I say, I'm not trying to teach you how to suck eggs and do what you should do. I'm just trying to highlight some of the problems that maybe back home you wouldn't get that. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't really, well, depending on where you are, I don't think you'd bump into many ladyboys. And certainly you wouldn't be falling off motorbike taxis. So, you know, those kind of issues there. And, you know, back in the day, I don't know, actually, do bars in England and around the world still have bell rings? I don't know, honestly. Certainly in places I worked and places I used to drink in, there was no bell ring. Don't know. But aggression and loud people, yeah, I've dealt with that all day long. That's, you know, it is what it is. It's funny, actually, you know, we used to eject people from the bars and the clubs. You'd be surprised how many people that we ejected at the time said, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to come back and stab you. And yeah, whatever, mate. Heard it a billion times. Jog on, go and sleep. We'll come back the next day and go, guys, I'm really sorry about last night. Sorry, I had a few too many beers and I was being a bit of a dick. It's amazing how many of them do that. It really is. It's quite funny. But anyway, you know, my point being is you might not be as well received if you're loud and drunk here as what you might be back home being asked nicely to leave. Guys, can you just, you know, call it a day? All right, there you go. That's it. Hopefully, if nothing else, I've given you a few things that can happen here when you've had too many. So that's me today. Thank you very much for watching. As I say, if you haven't already, please jump on Discord. We have got 8,500 plus members on now, and I'm putting more and more and more into that. It really is becoming, and I don't want to say it like as it's coming out as it's for me because it's buzzing, but it really is becoming a very good go-to resource for information about Pattaya and all other aspects of being here. So please have a look. If you'd like to support the channel, it'd be much appreciated. Memberships here start from like 89 pence a month. There is a link in the description below, so if you would like to support the work that I bring to the channel here, that'd be fantastic. And guys, lastly, if you haven't already, please remember, hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon if you'd like to be notified when I bring out a new video. All right, that's it for me. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Remember the boat trip. If you didn't see the boat trip, there is a link down below. Check that out. It was a great time. And that's it for me, guys. And of course, wherever you are in the world, stay safe.